BV files. Case record. Real-time rule. If a security feed ever becomes real-time, leave immediately. Cameras are supposed to lag. Real-time means something has already entered the room before you have. The archive basement ran on old systems. CRT monitors, a tower PC that sounded like a tired fan, and a hard drive chewing gravel, a VCR rack with labeled tapes, a timecode generator that always drifted a little. Nothing in that place was modern. Nothing was fast. That was the comfort of it. The feed was always 7 seconds behind. Everyone knew it. You could test it. Lift your hand, count to 7. Watch your hand lift again on the screen. Predictable, safe. A delay you could trust. That night, I was alone, logging incoming cases, catalog numbers, medium type, condition notes. The usual boring work that keeps the archive from swallowing itself. I had the CRT on in the corner, as background for camera angles, hallway storage aisle, stairwell door, my desk. The desk camera was my favorite because it proved the delay. I lifted my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the CRT, my hand lifted, same as always. Then the time stamp on the desk, camera flickered. Not a glitch, a clean reset. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. The delay disappeared. I lifted my hand again. On the CRT, my hand lifted at the exact same moment. No lag. My stomach tightened instantly. Because the delay is not a feature, it is a barrier. I turned my head slightly, eyes still on the screen, and checked the chair behind me. On the CRT behind my chair, something tall stood in the corner of the room. Not a face, not eyes, a vertical absence that the camera could outline only because it was darker than the dark. I did not feel anything behind me. I felt it on the screen. That was worse. The red rec indicator on the VCR rack turned off. The feed kept running anyway. I told myself it was a reflection, a shadow from the desk lamp, a compression artifact. Old systems do weird things, but the archive does not reset to 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds, for no reason. I kept my eyes on the CRT and slowly reached for the desk lamp. The moment my fingers touched the knob, the desk camera froze. Perfect still frame, not the whole monitor, just my desk angle. The other 3 angles kept moving, but my desk feed was a photograph now. And in that frozen frame, the tall absence behind my chair leaned slightly forward, not moving through space, changing its distance without walking. I stopped touching the lamp. The desk feed resumed. Real time again. On the CRT, the tall absence was closer than before. In the hall camera, the overhead light buzz softened, like the building was holding its breath. That is when I understood the real rule. The delay was not failing. It was being removed. Something was upgrading my room into a place it could use. I stood up slowly. The chair creaked. On the CRT, the sound did not lag. The building did not echo it. The archive swallowed the noise, like it was embarrassed to make any at all. I took 1 step toward the back room exit. On the desk camera, my step happened at the same time. Real time, then a new sound joined the room. Not from the speakers, from inside the walls. A soft mechanical chatter, like a dot matrix printer starting a job. The label printer on the shelf woke up by itself. It did not have paper loaded. It printed anyway. A strip of adhesive label slid out, blank, for half an inch. Then letters burned onto it, clean and sharp. Do not fix the delay. A second line printed immediately. Leave before IT matches you. My hands went cold. Because the archive does not speak unless it is documenting a mistake. I did not look away from the CRT. I did not turn around. I moved sideways, toward the door, keeping the screen in my peripheral vision. On the monitor, the tall absence behind my chair shifted again. Still no walking, just closer. as if the camera was correcting the world to include it. The hallway camera showed the corridor outside my room. The fluorescent lights were on. The hallway was empty. Then, in real time, the hallway lights dimmed in a clean wave, from far end to near, like a curtain being pulled. The storage aisle camera glitched once, a single frame. In that frame, the aisle shelves were closer together than they should be. Then, it went back to normal. The archive was being compressed, one still frame at a time. I reached the door. My fingers hovered over the handle. On the CRT, my fingers hovered over the handle at the same time. Behind me, the tall absence did not move. It did not need to. It was already in the correct place in the frame. If I opened the door, I would have to stop watching the monitor. I would have to turn, and turning is a kind of edit. Edits create blind spots. Blind spots are where it arrives. The labeled printer chattered again. Another strip slid out. Don't look for IT that makes IT accurate. A third strip followed, shorter. Keep IT unsure. That was the most terrifying instruction I have ever read. Because it meant my fear was not the problem. My certainty was. Real time was certainty. Real time was the camera agreeing on what exists. I backed away from the door, not far, just enough to keep the CRT in my focus. The tall absence on the desk camera paused. Then the desk camera froze again. Perfect, still frame. In the frozen frame, the absence was now directly behind my chair. Too close. Close enough that the edge of it overlapped the chair back. Close enough to share the same space, and in the frozen frame only. The corner of the room looked deeper than it should. Like the wall had been replaced by a second room made of the same darkness. The other camera feeds kept moving. Hallway lights dimming. Storage aisle stretching by inches. Stairwell door vibrating slightly, like someone was touching it from the other side. My desk feed stayed frozen. I did not blink. I do not know why. Instinct, maybe because when you blink, you stop seeing for a fraction of a second. A fraction of a second is a pause. And pauses were how it advanced. My eyes burned. The label printer spat one last strip, slow, like it was struggling to finish. If your feed stops lagging, you are already late. The desk feed resumed, real time again. And now, on the CRT, my chair. It was beside my desk, in my room, where I could not feel it, but the air near my shoulder turned thick, like heat without warmth. I reached down and grabbed the VCR rack power switch. Old rocker switch. Hard click. I killed power to the feeds. The CRT went black. For 1 second, the room felt normal. Then the CRT turned back on by itself. Not static, not blue screen. The desk feed returned. The label printer clicked. This time, it did not print. It only made the sound, like a throat clearing. And the CRT displayed something I had never seen on that system. A single line of text, centered clean, like a subtitle. Thank you for removing the delay. My skin went tight because I had just helped it. I moved fast, not running. Running makes you look back. I kept my eyes forward and my hands on the exit. I opened the door in one motion and stepped into the hallway. The overhead lights were dim now, like they were tired. Behind me, from inside the room, I heard the label printer chatter again. A final strip printed. It slid under the door like a tongue. I did not pick it up. I did not stop moving. I reached the stairwell door and shoved it open. Cold air, concrete smell, real-world sounds. The archive felt less sure there. I took the stairs 2 at a time. I did not look at any monitors. I did not look at any reflective glass, because real time is contagious. It spreads through attention. When I reached the ground floor, I finally stopped long enough to breathe. My breath shook. In the quiet between my breaths, I heard it. Not a ring, not a voice. A soft electronic tone. A camera confirmation beep. From inside my skull, like a recording device had started. And I understood the last part of the rule. It did not need to follow me. It only needed to match me once. If the feed becomes real time, What do you do? Comment one word, play or leave.